approaches to coaching a product owner, especially when he or she has tendency for command and control behavior. Once again, I'm going to ask for volunteers. If you want to join in on this discussion, please raise a hand. Have one person. Let's have two more. We have 4 people, so we have me, Arev, Wilton, and Nada. Thank you for joining in. Let's start. I'm going to start the timer, and 4 of you can unmute yourselves so you can join in the discussion.
Yep. Hi, everyone. So just a quick thought of before going into approaches. I think it's important to understand where is it coming from. So why does the product owner has a tendency of command and control? Is it something, just an attitude? Is it because things were working that way? Because of the command and control, things were actually progressing? Or maybe there is a lack of trust. And why is there a lack of trust if it is so? So there are definitely a lot of aspects to explore. And usually the best approach to understand where is it coming from is a direct conversation, not a blunt one, but just a direct conversation to the product owner to understand rather than assume where is it coming from. And then to actually move forward with the approaches based on the learnings of why is this happening, why the product owner is bringing command and control into the team.
Yeah.
And I'm going to mute myself.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's always the first step is a discussion with them. I'm also thinking that usually, I'm generally thinking why command and control behavior happens. I feel a lot of the times just it's how to say it's people are trying to control the uncertainties they're faced with, right? And that's why they turn to the command and control behavior. There might be some fears around maybe not delivering or being seen in a bad light if the team doesn't deliver, their SPO feel responsible for that non-delivery. So there might be fears around that, and figuring out those fears and trying to find ways to address them, I think that's something that can help.
Yeah, I faced this kind of scenario in the past, and basically, yeah, I agree with the coaching sessions that could be taken in consideration. I mean, so basically, as agile specialist, let's say like that, if you are not a scrum master, agile coach, or whatever, so. In my case, I could, for example, discover that the mentor of that PO was basically based on the traditional school. So that was his only reference, and what was necessary was basically to run some educations regarding the agile concepts. Of course, it took me time for getting to the real scenario. It was also combined with lack of trust. Of course, from his perspective, it was kind of running unnecessary risks to just leave the team members to decide by themselves what could be the best approach based on the sprint goals or any other agreements. And from his perspective, if he was not present, things would not present any kind of let's say, desired progress. And yeah, there is no clear pattern, to be honest, but of course, this kind of connection creation may start helping at least to make the PO start listening to your point of view. It may not work sometimes, but of course, the connection may help you a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Nada, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so I've actually experienced this in 80% of the engagements that I've been in, and 100% of the engagements I've been on as an independent contractor, as an agile coach. I would say that a lot of this stems from pressure from above, from leadership wanting results and making sure that teams don't fail. I would say one of the strategies is to have a liftoff and provide education on what the different roles are. There's a lot of confusion about what a product owner is supposed to be doing. And they tend to come from the traditional project management type of roles or directors, etc. So they feel that that's the type of command and control behavior they should be doing. And I think a working agreement would be beneficial as well. And maybe just have the idea of let's have an experiment and maybe start with something small and let the team run with it. And let's see how if we do this differently, how it would work. Just start small. This type of behavior doesn't change overnight. It's a mindset that, slowly changes. As they say, you have to earn trust. So when the product owner sees their team, delivering and that this type of, working, style of working, actually produces results, then they're going to slowly ease off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and to kind of build up on that, I did work with a product owner who was coming from producer or project manager role. And what I saw, he was so tense all the time because he couldn't understand exactly what the team was working on, where they were, and he was always there asking them for status. And I could feel the stress. And I actually tried to help him first of all, helping him understand what his role is and saying, you don't need to do those things anymore. You have brilliant developers on your team working on this product. They're really excited to build the best quality product. Instead, focus on giving them direction, giving them good product vision, providing them with goals. And because they know how to do that work, you don't need to really check with them every single day. They'll figure it out. And I think slowly, by helping him understand what his role is really about, by giving him the tools to be successful with this role, such as product vision, product goals, etc., he was able to slowly start moving away from this command and control. So we're out of time. Looking at the timer, trying to finish my phrase before it rang. Okay, so once again, let's do the same thing we did previously. Say yes if you want to continue this discussion, or no if you want to move on to the next topic. Mostly no, so I don't see any yeses. I'll assume that no one wants to continue discussing this topic. I'll say that we have finished discussing the PO coaching approaches. So let's look at the next one. How to work with teams which have PO and multiple managers of team members. We have 4 people. We have David and Olsen. So great. You can unmute yourself and let's jump in. I'll start the timer. Let's go.
Do we want to understand the context first?
Yeah, you can. If it's yours, go ahead.
No, it wasn't me.
It wasn't yours? Who posted it? Would like to have some context. Also, I don't think we can hear you. So let's maybe try to figure out what it is, right? How to the team. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have an idea from past experience. So one of the scenarios where I worked before, it was a product company wherein we had around 10 teams, 13 managers. So yeah, so how it happened was, if the managers want some information, and that is the reason they are joining in the Scrum meetings. If the team doesn't feel safe for them to join and participate, because if it is distracting them from actively participating, how the Scrum Master can handle it is by requesting the information that the managers are looking for and finding a way to pass that information on to them without joining in and disturbing the teams.
Yeah, that's a good approach. That's true. Trying to understand why, right? Once again,
Yes.
we're coming back to some of the points we made in regards to the product owner.
Yes. So understand what the managers are looking for, and then try and, as a team, try and answer those questions for the managers, and then pass on the information on to them. So, yes.
I'm also wondering, because it says there is a conflict between managers and the product owners. So I'm wondering, is there a conflict between managers telling their employees technically what to do, and it does not align with what the product owner tells them to do, right? And that's where the conflict comes in. So who has the final say in defining the work? Normally the product owner.
100% times.
Could you hear me? No?
Yes, now we can hear.
Yes.
Okay. So actually, I agree with Rohan and you, Daria. So how we can solve the conflict of roles? Actually, we have a product owner role, but on the other side, we have managers who can try to dominate the meeting, like the sprint planning meeting, and who can pull their resources from that project and they assign maybe another project. So there are conflict of roles. So how we can overcome that?
Okay.
It's not about only retrospective, psychological safety, etc. It's about the role.
I have an example I'd like to share, and you can parse out an answer from this maybe. So I observed this with a client of mine about 1.5 years ago. The problem showed up. In fact, there wasn't really a problem that the managers were attending these events, the planning event, the retrospectives. In fact, everybody was getting along for the most part. But the real problem occurred when, by the simple fact that the product owner assigned to the team units really didn't have much authority. And the vice president of product was, like possessing each of the product owners. The vice president of product was there in every meeting, even though he wasn't there in every meeting, if you know what I mean. Like, so the product owner was really a proxy, and the conflict was really between the vice president of product and the vice president of technology. And they had to, like, that's where the people in the teams were not going to solve this problem. It was really for these executives to work it out. And as long as they didn't work it out. Eventually one of them was let go from the organization. So the CEO eventually worked it out. But I think the problem there I'm speaking to is that the conflict is between these various interests, not necessarily between the team members.
Okay. I have maybe 2 interesting examples of this stuff. So in my past assignment, one of a delivery manager, he always used to pop up in my stand-ups. And whenever he used to come, the team members were just upset out of blue and they never used to be attentive. So I was okay in 1 or 2 instances. When the 3rd instance he came, I said, and he used to question team. I said, yes, you are important, but can we park after the stand-up? So as a Scrum Master, I think it is important. You should protect the agenda for daily Scrum. I know I was you need to be gutsy sometimes, right? You need to say, yes, it is important, but you need to stop for 15 minutes. And the second time, the same delivery manager started popping up in my retrospective. I noticed it first. And in second instance, when he came, I deliberately assigned some action items to him as well. That is when you need to work on resources management or arrange some team bonding sessions. He got that out and he just stopped attending my retrospective. So probably just a humorous note, to just tackle the management people. Sometimes they.
Yeah. I also wanted to add that those are really good examples, actually. I think sometimes getting creative and figuring out how you can help people listen to you. But also, I think actually starting with being very clear about who has the kind of final say on different things, as in what the team works on. That needs to be clear, and you might need to involve management in defining those roles. And the timer's done. Let's see. The other one, common misunderstandings about the concept definition of done.